Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Story. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had mixed feelings about the summer. It's been fun to have some time off, but I've really missed some of my friends. I've missed spending time with Ian and with Bethan and reading you the story every week together. Well, good news. Just as you guys are all getting to go back to school this week, so we've been allowed to get back together to read you another story from the Jesus Storybook Bible. This week's story is called The King of All Kings, and I'm going to hand over to Bethan to kick things off. Enjoy.
The King of All Kings. Far away in the east, 3 clever men saw that very same star, the star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. They had been waiting for this star. They knew it would come.
"He's here!" they shouted. "He's here!" And I'm sure if you'd been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things just right for a king.
The 3 wise men, actually, if you'd met them, you'd have thought that they were kings because they were so rich, clever, and important looking. They all set off. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, down into deep, deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day, day and night, for hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months and months, until at last they reached Jerusalem.
Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, and as anyone can tell you, that's where a palace would be, and kings are born in palaces. So that's where they went. But they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Surely he'd know where this baby was.
But he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. It made him cross. He didn't want anyone to be king except him. But Herod's advisors told the 3 wise men what was written in their books, what God had said about the baby king. Go to Bethlehem. That's where you'll find him.
Suddenly, the star that they had seen in the east started moving again, showing them the way. So the 3 wise men followed the star out of the big city, along the road, and into the little town of Bethlehem. They followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town, through the not so nice part of town, and into the really not at all nice part of town, down a little dirt track, until it stopped right over a little house.
But wait, it wasn't a palace, and there weren't any guards or servants or flags or red carpet or a trumpet or anything. Did they get it wrong? Or was this what God meant?
Sure enough, in that little house, there, sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The 3 men knelt before the little king. They took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming golden crowns. They bowed their noble heads to the ground and gave him their sparkling treasures.
The journey that had begun so many centuries before had led 3 wise men right here, to a little town, to a little house, to a little child, to the king that God had promised David all those years before. But this child was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. The king hadn't come to be a boss. He had come to be a servant. Okay, well that's another episode of Sunday Story in the bag. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to start to see how all these stories that we've been looking at for the last couple of months fit together, find their fulfillment, their culmination in the baby Jesus, or the grown-up Jesus. He's just a baby so far. Things will change. It's been great in our household, at least over the summer, to keep going with our crafts, for not only being creative in terms of making things, but being creative in terms of discovering things, of going online, getting ideas of the things that we can be making each and every week. So this week, it's the same challenge as always. Go find a computer or a tablet or a little book that you've got hidden away somewhere, and search for craft suggestions, things to do with stars, things to do with kings, perhaps, and see what you can come up with. I'm going to leave it at that, and I look forward to seeing you all again, same time, same place, next week. Bye-bye.